Hi, um, I am Ezra. I'm 26. For a little bit of background, I have not posted on this channel for over 4 years. I think the last time I did was when I was 22, and that was a birthday trip to Arkansas. Um, yeah, it's been a while. Uh, the reason why I'm on here is because one, I do TikTok, but I'm not a big enough creator to get any income from it. Um, I can't even go live because I don't have enough followers, which is fine. I get it. Like, that comes with time. But I am 26. I have way too much, way too much debt for my age. Because I went to college for 5 years. I did not get a degree. I went to a private university for 2 years out of state, which was the same tuition. No matter if you lived in state or out of state, that school was expensive. 44,000 a year, actually. Um, and that was without the food plan, I believe. But I went for a year right out of high school, had a traumatic event back home. I didn't go back after that season, or like that school year was done. I At that point I had dipped my toe into the dancer world, the adult entertainment world, and I was 18, which for some clubs you can start working at when you're 18. You just can't drink, but you can work there. Now they're getting a little bit more strict about that, and they want you to be 21 just in case someone gets you alcohol. But if there's no alcohol, there's different rules for each club. And depending on the county, depending on the state, depending on the club. But, so I do that. And while I said I started when I was 18, I really started after COVID. I started in 2021 with me dancing as a full-time job because I was working at a clothing brand in their warehouse, and I was part of the packaging department. And they were pushing me past my kind of breaking point. Not mentally, but physically. My heart could not keep up with the constant stress. My heart just couldn't do it. So I was passing out at work. And instead of figuring out what was wrong with me, they just canned me. Cool. I know I was a temporary employee, so I didn't get the health insurance. I wasn't hired on full-time. I get that. But I had to do an emergency EKG. I had a heart harness on for 24 hours. That's not cheap. So that put me in medical debt. Okay, cool. So I went to dancing because I could make my own hours. I could talk to who I wanted to. I got to kind of be social and get paid to be social. But also, I'm an introvert at heart. Like, I would rather stay at home reading a book. Like, that is me 100% of the time. Sometimes, though, my social battery needs to be worked. So I did that for full time for 2 years. during that time, I went back to school. And I had to take out student loans. And I had help from my grandma because she had better credit than my parents did, and my parents didn't really have the means to help me get a student loan at that point. I get it. So I got a student loan through Discover for, at that time, just under $30,000. Now, with interest and getting out of grace period, it's just about 40 grand. But I went back to school. I was still dancing. I danced down in Iowa at a club. That was fine. And then I applied to a school, a UW school up in Wisconsin, where I'm from. Wisconsin, at least, not the city. But I came back to Wisconsin because I got accepted. And I didn't want to live in the dorms because at that point, I am 23 years old. I don't want to live in a dorm. Like, no thank you. So I found off-campus student housing where it's a 4-bedroom, 2-bath, shared kitchen and living room and laundry, but you rent out your room out of the 4-bedroom. Cool. Lived there for just about a year and a half. But during that time, I also had to get a car loan because the car that I had was not street safe. The undercarriage could have gone out at any second if I hit a pothole. So I had to take out a car loan for 17 grand, which I got approved of. I got approved for a $17,000 car loan as a dancer. I was so happy. I put 2 grand down on the car in cash. Cool. We good. I go back to working. Like, I have a more steady vehicle. I was working 4 out of the 7 days of the week. I started one of my OF pages, which is still up for the OGs. It's free, but then I have a new one for the new, for my new regulars at the club with a new name on there. And that is the Shadow Rose 99. But that is because my dancer name is now Shadow. Anyways, so November goes into December. I talk to the manager. I tell her something that happened at work because, like, with a bouncer, we had an issue. I wanted to tell her. Plus, I'm part of the rainbow community. And I wanted to come out to her so that way she found out from me and not someone else. Cool. I thought we were cool. Come January, right around the same time as one of the hardest weeks of the year for me, because there's a lot of traumatic stuff that I'm not going to get into right now. But during that same time, she bans me from dancing at the club because she would rather stand with the bouncer, who is a good friend, who is also skimming off the top of all of the registers, just a heads up, versus understand or take my side. I didn't expect her to take my side. but that kind of hurt. And I had to find a job because I have now rent, I have electric, I have credit cards. At that point, I only had one credit card. I had my car loan. I have bills now. Like, I have to have a job. So I started working at Walmart. Worked at Walmart that time for 9 months. Then I quit. Worked at the apartment complex where I was living. Quit there because I was not getting paid enough to actually live. I worked at a hotel. I got hired that day. I walked in, filled out an application, got hired that day, started the next week. Awesome. I had so much overtime that they had to cut my hours by half, which means that I was not able to pay my bills on time. And at that time, I had also moved out of my four bedroom, 2-bath apartment with my roommates, and I had to move to a different city. I had a cat, so I had to pay a cat deposit. It's a 45-minute or half hour to 45-minute drive from where I was working because I had a weird interaction with a roommate. That's a whole different set of issues. But so I had to move, which means now I'm paying for electric. I'm paying for laundry again because I don't have I don't have washer and dryer in my unit. I'm having to pay for more gas. I'm having to pay for internet. More bills are adding on, right? And then I quit the hotel and I started working at Dollar General. Well, they couldn't give me steady enough hours. So I played back at Walmart. When you quit Walmart, you have to wait 6 months to reapply, which is fine. I get it. It's for paperwork purposes. So that's what I did. And I started working back at Walmart. I was on overnights. I was stocking shelves. Sweet. I was making more than I did at both the hotel and at Dollar General. So I was doing okay. I was finally getting caught up with my bills. And I had to put my cat down, which destroyed me because it was 2 days before my birthday. So I had to go through that. My lease was coming up, so I found a different apartment. I was still going to school at this time. I've been going to school this entire time. And so I had to find a different apartment. So I moved back to the city with my college. Rent was a little bit higher, but the only thing I had to pay for was electric. And it had air conditioning, which is nice. But I had some stuff going on. Working at Walmart, got into a relationship or situationship. I worked overnights until late September, and then that was 2024 into 2023 into 2024. I worked at Walmart on and off for 2 years. So I worked there this time for 1.5 years, and I worked in the auto center too. But then I went back to overnights, and it screwed my sleep schedule so much that I could not stay awake during classes. I was falling asleep during classes or sleeping through classes. I wasn't able to get my homework done on time. And it was either fail out or drop out. Well, if you fail out, that screws your GPA. So I chose the dropout. So now I am in a more expensive apartment. I have a car loan. I have credit card. I have electric. At that point, I had also started paying for my own insurance, health, vision, dental. I had my own phone plan. Some subscriptions I've had since I was like 18, 17, 18. Cool. But now my student loans are out of deferment. And I'm back to working as a dancer full time because Walmart was giving me stress migraines. And I could not go through that. So I'm back at working at the club. Well, the one that I used to work at burned down. It got burned down by a customer. So I have to drive 45 to an hour and a half away, one way for work. Well, it's expensive, but it's cheaper than getting a hotel down there because that's more debt that you're adding on. Plus, I got another credit card because I was stupid. And so now I have more and more bills, plus student loans. I have health bills that I have medical bills that I have to pay for. I'm on a payment plan for those. And it's just a lot. So this is all a lot of background info for you to kind of figure out where I am coming from in a way. Because I am trying to do micropayments. I started doing it on TikTok, and I just don't have enough followers to go live, so I can't monetize it that way. Trusted. I don't plan on having enough subscribers on here to make any money, but I'm just putting my hat in the ring. I do kind of like every time I do a shift at the club, I do a little video of me before work, and then I do a money count with like a download of like what all happened at the club that night. I do that kind of stuff. And while on TikTok it's 2 different videos, on here I'd probably make it into one video, put them together, be good. But I'm also trying to do the micropayments towards my loans. I will say though that my car is now after this month's payment, it'll be halfway through my loan payments, and it'll be under 10 grand. I'm so excited. Because that's $340 every month. My student loans, almost $600 a month. That's just for student loans. Rent, $700. Electric, about $75-ish. Because I'm on one of the flat rate plans. Credit card 1, that's about $250 a month. Not great. Also, not as bad as it could be. But I will be doing kind of little updates on here. Do I expect anyone to watch them? No. If you do, congratulations. You came to my chaotic mess of a life. I will have a lot of dancer stories. And not just like the glamorous, like, oh, I made this much money tonight. It's the pettiness, it's the cattiness, it's the nitty gritty of the clubs. I will not be saying names because I don't feel comfortable doing that, but I'll be telling kind of the stories that come along with the club, saying how much of a physical and mental toll it is, that kind of stuff. Like tonight, I have to actually get ready for work soon. I'm gonna be eating a crab dip, like a crab ragoon dip, and I cut up a bagel. I actually heated it up once already. I'm just gonna reheat up the bagel. I use the bagel as like little chips for the crab ragoon dip. I will also say this. I have had people ask, well, why don't you just get state? Oh, that's another thing. I have private health insurance now. So now I'm paying for health insurance on top of everything else, and that's another $235 a month. But that's because I'm an independent contractor. Independent contractors, you pay for it yourself. You do not technically work at a club. You are not an employee. You get to basically rent out your spot on their property. It's kind of like a hair salon. You rent out your chair, but the club or the salon gets a cut out of everything that you do. Yeah, it's the same for a dancer. Only with less clothes and more drunk people, sadly. But it'll be an eventful channel. I'm chaos incarnate. I'm a Pisces, but I have literally every sign on my birth chart. Every sign. Yeah. But sorry that this video is a little bit longer than I was expecting. It's just like the instant download of everything that's kind of got me up to this point, and kind of how I'm going to be going from here. I will try and stop most of my swearing. No promises. I am 26. I have a mouth of a freaking sailor. I almost swore. I have the mouth of a sailor. I was raised by 3 brothers. Impulse control of a teenager who just got their first paycheck. So, also I have the diet of a 12-year-old when I remember to eat. I have been fighting health issues. I've been fighting an eating disorder since I was like middle school. I just didn't know it was an eating disorder. I just restricted what I ate to the point where when I was 18 and in college, first year in a different state, I was down to 95 pounds. And at that point, I had just found out I was pregnant. And I had a dance team coach who would weigh us and make us run if we gained any weight. So that did not help the situation. But I will say this, I am now at I'm sitting at that 130 range. I eat sugar like it's going out of style. Because at least, if anything, I can have a sugar rush. Or I eat like the high calorie stuff. So that way I'm at least getting calories in. It's just me. I'm a chaos gremlin. But yeah, this got really awkward and deep. So I'm going to dip out. I'm going to eat, get my dancer bag ready for work, and check in with y'all later.